Hello there, and welcome to episode 7 of Lazy Ladies Knit and Natter. I'm Nick, and I am currently alone, you may notice. This is because Amy is super duper busy with her wind stuff. You know, she likes her wind. And Tori has a really bad migraine, so I said that I'd come on and I'd take one for the team and I'd do it on my own because I'm amazing and I'm an empowered woman who can do these things. So, yes, I'm going to basically do a really stripped down version of what we'd normally do. Mainly because I'm going to be talking to myself for an hour, so it's going to be fairly difficult. But so I'll basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about Woolfest. I'll talk about what we bought there. Also, as I said on the Facebook group, I've been looking at apps. I have been having a little run around, having a look at all the apps that are available on the Android softwares, because one thing that really annoys me personally about the apps is there's a lack of integration. There's certain areas of Ravelry that you can't access in the app. So I've basically been for the week going around the houses trying to find the best apps, and then we can do you a recommendation. And we have been, me, Tori, and Amy have all been trying out the apps together. We've all been going like, oh, I like this one. This one's okay. And the ones where we're just like, no. So, first things first, I suppose, I will talk about Woolfest. Now, that was not last weekend, the weekend before last. And I went to a hen do the night before, so I was a little bit hungover. So my experience with Woolfest was being incredibly allergic to the air because of all the hay. As I said last week, I couldn't come on last week because my hay fever was so bad that my face was swollen. It's still quite bad. I don't know whether you can see, but like, I'm gross and disgusting. Yes, so I was ill pretty much all the way around Woolfest, but I did manage to have a really great time. Saw some people who I haven't seen in a couple of weeks. Saw Hannah and Diane and a couple of other people just having a wander around, like looking at all the stores. So it was really great. I really enjoy Woolfest mainly because it's where I can let my, in the same way that I go to Comic-Con, I wear Doctor Who t-shirts and I go to Comic-Con, I get really excited and I run around for the entire day just like, woo, this is amazing, because I let my geek flag fly at Comic-Con. This is where I let my craft flag fly, so I get really excited and really intensely into fibre. And I'm just like, oh my god, is that Cordell? Come here, I need a Cordell. I get really excited about all the fibres and I get really excited about all the yarns and stuff. And oh my god, it's so much fun. So I had a very limited spending limit because it was my birthday weekend that weekend as well, and I had lots of things I needed to spend money on. You'd be amazed how expensive birthdays are when you get to 29 years old. So I didn't have a huge amount of money to spend, but I somehow managed to spend more than I should have. Anyway, good effort. And I'm gonna grab my yarn bag. Yeah, I'll get the yarn bag first because that's a good one. If I can reach it. Because the thing about Woolfest is it's unreal, some of the stuff you can get there. So what I picked up was, I've got more than just this, but this is what's in my yarn bag currently. Don't know where the rest of it's gone. Right, I went to Texas and I picked up 400 grams of linen for less than a tenner. I think it was £8 for 400 grams of linen, and it's what looks like a lace weight. It's absolutely raggedy though. It's going to take ages to wind. I also got some incredibly fine silk, but I can't see it on my table currently, so I'll have to show you guys that next week. I also got, this was a gift from Tori because she knows me so well. This is 400 grams of like 4-ply yarn, and we have no idea what it is, but look how giant it is. That's bigger than my daughter when she was born. That's so big. That is a lot of yarn, and I think that cost about a fiver, £4 or £5. Honestly, it was unreal. I was just like, oh my god! And Tori insisted on buying it for my birthday, along with a bunch of undyed Debbie Tomkis stuff. And I am quite a fan of Debbie Tomkis. I've never actually met her before though. I was like, oh my god, it's Debbie Tomkis. And I was like, I'm sure I know her, and I'm sure I know her. Oh my god! And she writes for a magazine called Nik Now, which I'm sure everyone's aware of. And she bought me some undyed and some space dyed lace weight yarns. And this is the space dyed. The color, the contrast is going to be really bad on here. I'm going to try and get as close as I can. It's browns and whites, right? Yeah, I think you can kind of see that. It looks really like blue on screens by the looks of it. But you can see on the label it says coffee/white there, right? So that is the lace weight I got as well. Next we have the fleece. I got some undyed of that as well. Really pretty. Fleece bag. Now I got some Viking fleece that I can't remember the name of, but me and Tori are really obsessed with it because it's so pretty. It's really, really soft as well. Oh my god, I'm totally in love with it. I got some Corridale underneath that because Mummy loves Corridale as well. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful Corridale. So nice. How much was that? £1.43 for 100 grams. We love Woolfest, and I have the threshing barn, which is one of my personal favourite guys at Woolfest, and they just do just bats of English wool, and it's just on its own not very impressive, but the colours are really pretty and it spins so easily, and I get really excited whenever I go, and I'm like, oh my god, they're here! So I have to go over and immediately like buy all of their bats. That is the fleece, and this is the yarn. Boom. So I wound up some of the debutante kiss stuff. It took me 3 hours to wind this single ball of yarn with my poor fiance because I don't have a Swift. And God bless his soul, he sat and he wound the entire thing with me. He's a bloody sweetheart, he is. Look at that. Immense. It looks beautiful from the top. And that is going to be the Lucidity shawl, which was one, I think it was pattern 3, third week, which was the square shawl that Deb's put on. But I've started it. You probably can't see it very well, but giving it a good go. That's like the first chart done. So now I have 10 of chart 2 to do, and then 1 edging chart to do. So I've got 11 chart repeats to do before I'm finished, but that's 11 chart repeats. So easy peasy. And I also have on my needles this, which is a Bactus, a lacy Bactus. We love a good lacy Bactus because they're so easy and they're quick and you don't have to think about it. So this is what I'm going to be knitting today because it's funsies and you don't really have to pay much attention to what you're doing because it's all just very much knit, knit, knit. The other thing I was going to show you was my pattern for the week. My pattern for the week is, I feel incredibly lonely. I know I'm not right now. It's okay. I'm sure you'll all turn up later. Right, and my pattern is this one right here, but I seem to be on the ones. Yeah, right. This is called a little of this, a little of that shawl. If it wants to load. And I was bugging about on one of the apps, and you can put a generic search term in and pull up whatever you want. So you could put in shawl and pull up shawls, right? And I put in Shopelle because Mummy loves Shopelle wool. We love it, we love it, we love it. And this came up, and the one that caught my eye, the one that caught my imagination was, if it wants to load, this one right here. Look at that. Oh, stop doing that. Hold on, we'll go full screen, why not? There we go. And that immediately made me want to make this pattern because it looks stunning. I'm not really one for crochet shawls, There's one particular pattern that I'll show you in a bit that I've done a few times, but this pattern right here, absolutely just amazingly beautiful. So I was like, okay, I need to make this. So I went stash diving yesterday, tried to find something that jumped out at me. And what I found was, do we remember my yarn suggestion from episode 1? Probably not, but I do. So I pulled out my Louisa Harding Amatola. That's the label, Louisa Harding. And this was the ball of yarn. Well, it was a ball of yarn. This used to be attached to a shawl that I started yesterday. And this is the shawl. It took me less than 11 hours to make this. It's not blocked yet. But check it out. Not bad for a day's work, eh? I'm quite proud of that. I think the thing that I really liked about that pattern while I was making it was no single row seems to emulate the one before it. They all seem similar. So like there's V-stitch patterns that go all the way through it, but they go from V-stitch to shell stitch and then go to like unbelievably huge shell stitch ones. So you can see the shell stitch here. The fingers are coming out there. Those are the biggest ones you find in the pattern. Absolutely massive. 9 of those per row, 9 of those per stitch even, which is a lot. Some of the rows get really long, but like I said, it keeps you interested because none of the rows are identical. There's always something new and different going on. So I made it in one day. Very impressed with myself. Gonna chuck it on. Why the heck not? I'm an adult. I can do what I want. That's my cast on. Like my cast on is my hook on. So that's one of my finished objects for the week. I've managed to, for the first time in my life, finish four projects in 6 days. I started this yesterday. I finished it midday today. And I cast this on last Thursday because I was all sad about not being able to come online last week, and finished it last Thursday. This took me 7 hours. It is the star-crossed beret. I don't know whether you can see the top of it. It's not very clear. This is made out of my own hand spun as well, that I've shown you before on here. And I've had this in my queue forever, and I think I've made about 3 of them, and I never managed to make one that I like. I think I quite like this one though. I might keep this one on. But you see, sometimes it just takes the right yarn. I quite like that. I think that looks all right. Trying that on. And then we have 2 finished objects. Sorry, you can't really see, but there's some really nice cables. The yarn kind of dumbs it down. I also have 2 finished objects from the UFOs from the last time we were on. So one is crochet shawl number 2. That is Gynometron, and it took me 3 years. This came up on my time hop. I had been on Facebook talking to Anne, who owns the Knit Studio in Newcastle, saying how I just started a shawl 3 years ago. I put that up 3 years ago in a week. And I was like, well, something tells me I definitely need to finish this shawl. So I finished it, and I literally had about 1.5 meters of the yarn left, and it's discontinued yarn as well. So it was really close, but you can see I haven't even sewn the ends in yet, but it's absolutely huge. Like none of this, the only thing that's blocked is this hat and the cowl that I'll show you in a second. But this thing is massive, and Emily spent the day running around with it straight after I finished it. The minute it came off the hook, she immediately went, "Oh, is that for Emily?" and started playing. The adorable little scamp that she is. There we go. I like this shawl. It's a good shawl. It's so big. It's so big that you can do 1,000,001 different things with it. You can wear it a million different ways, and it's great. That's one of the things I like about a big shawl. But I don't really make big shawls because I get bored of pearl rows. So, as we know, I tell everyone that all the time. So that is number 3 finished object for the week. The last one is disappointing. Very disappointing. I have a bit of an issue with it. because I cast this on as my getting back into knitting project, and that was probably October last year, and I never got back into knitting. I got really bored of this project. It's a beautiful project, but I got really bored of it, and the yarn I chose was really difficult to work with because it just felts itself as you knit with it. Like if you even have the slightest damp on your hands, and you can imagine October, it's raining, it immediately like start felting itself into the rest of the yarn. So it was difficult to knit. It was difficult to knit with. The pattern was stunning. The pattern's really beautiful. It's called Whirl. And I mean, it's just been, I kept on hibernating it because I was getting really annoyed with it because it wasn't growing very quickly and the yarn was doing me head in. And eventually what happened was when I did my big stash down, when I threw away all my yarn, this had gotten knotted in with another project. So what I did was I broke the yarn, because that's an easy thing to do when you got 100% natural fibers. You can break a yarn and then easily split splice it together. So I was like, right, break the yarn, get them untangled, put them back together again, sorted. Unfortunately, what happened was I broke the yarn and then put it in a pile to get split splice back together, and it got put into a bag of stuff that was going to a charity shop, I believe. So there's a random little just chunk of yarn, probably about that big, that was meant to be the rest of this cowl, but it wasn't. So this cowl is, we've got 1, 3, 4. This cowl is 3 repeats short of what it should be. So I'm really unsure. Blocked. It's just come off the blockers, if you will. So God knows how this is going to look on. But let's have a look. See. I don't even know if it'll function as a cowl particularly well. Yeah, you see, if I had the rest of that yarn, I could have finished it off properly. But unfortunately, I just had to bind it off where I could because there was just nothing. There wasn't enough yarn to actually finish it off. I mean, it sits. It's nice. If I have a nice big coat on, it'll cover me quite nicely and look very nice. And the lace is quite good. It shows quite well once it's blocked, but I'm just a little bit upset that I didn't have the rest of the yarn for it. So that's a sad face moment right there. So 4 finished projects in 1 week, in less than 1 week. And I'm quite proud of 3 of them, I'll say. It's just a big old shame about the last one. So that is my adventures in Woolfest. That is my adventures in knitting this week. I'm going to pick up my Bactus, lacy Bactus, not just a Bactus, it's a lacy one. Ooh. And I'm going to knit. I'm also going to have a quick look on Facebook and see if anyone's actually going to be joining me, because it doesn't look like anyone's coming yet. And I've only been on for 20 minutes. If no one joins me, I'm going to have to make this a real short one. Well, it's not looking hopeful for Facebook. Frankly, Facebook looks like a disappointment today. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. And we've got nothing on the chat either. Sad face, right? Never mind. There are other things we can be doing. We're okay. My hair's gone crazy. I always fiddle with my hair, don't I? It's a very annoying habit of mine. Never mind, no one's watching anyway. So, the last thing that I was going to discuss, I thought I'd be going on longer than this, but I've only been going 20 minutes and I can't see anyone coming in the last few minutes and wanting to chat right now, but we'll keep going just for the break. The last thing to discuss is the apps. Now, once upon a time, I had a BlackBerry phone, and we're talking a long time ago now. And the biggest disappointment to me about my BlackBerry was the fact that I could not find a single knitting app. So when I changed to Android, I was very excited because I knew that there were knitting apps. So, you know, super duper excited, yay, knitting apps. And then I download them and they're all terrible. Absolutely just useless apps. Just absolutely pointless. Didn't provide anything Ravelry-esque, even though Ravelry at that point did have a thing saying, oh, well, we're trying to get our database onto an app and all this. And you're sat there going, well, you know, I'd quite like to see it sooner rather than later. So, yes, that was 5 years ago. I then got County, which is a great app. County is great. Everyone loves County, right? Because you can sit there and you go, boink, new row, boink, new row, boink, new row. Great, absolutely fabulous. And then you go around and you look for other apps that, you know, have patterns. You look for apps that have, I don't know, graphing or forums. Because there's points in time where you want to talk to people about knitting. There's points in time where you want to graph out some lace. There's points in time when you want to graph out intarsia or something like that, or your ferrule. And what you really want is an app that does the counting, it does the graphing, it does the forums, it does the patterns, it does your Ravelry queue, it does your Ravelry. That's what you want. You want to be able to go on there and play with Ravelry. And I've repeatedly looked for apps like that. I've paid money for apps like that, and been utterly disappointed in the end because there aren't many of these apps around. There aren't very good ones, at least. There haven't ever really been a surplus in knitting apps that are particularly good. There's one on Apple called Knit Companion. That one is particularly well loved by Amy, but I've never used it, nor have I ever experienced it. I've never even been shown it, I don't think. But there isn't an Android counterpart to it. They don't have an Android version of it. And then there's on Android, there was never really anything particular, like a number one. There wasn't one app that, like, people went, oh, well, you need to get this app. You need to get that knitting app. That knitting app is going to blow your mind. That never happened. There were things like Ravulous, which would attach to your Ravelry profile, and it was like, you know, it worked. It was like it attached to your Ravelry profile, but if you wanted to upload a photo of a new project, you had to download Ravulous photo thing, and then between the two apps, you could put a picture up. Oh, great idea! You could have just incorporated that to the actual app, but it didn't go down well. So, I mean, there was a lot of, we need something, when are we going to get it? And it never really turned up until recently. So this week I have been discovering new apps. I have been going up and down the internet trying to find apps. And I have apps for you. I have a little folder on my phone called Knit Bits because we have many apps now. And the ones I want to talk to you about, mainly, don't ever download a stitch counter anymore. Pointless. I've downloaded 3 different ones there. I don't know whether you can actually see them on there. But there's 3 different stitch counters on there. But every single one of the 5 apps on there has row counters in there with it. So what I've downloaded and enjoyed have been Knit Tools, Knitwits, and Stash to Go. Right? Now, I'd heard of Stash to Go, but I'd never had a chance to actually have a look at it. I'd never heard of Knit Tools, and I'd never heard of Knitwits. So I downloaded the 3 and a couple of row counters because mainly at that point I just wanted a row counter that I could go on any device and it would have the same row counts, you know, so it would keep you count no matter what device you were on. So it was basically, you had a login for it almost, and I could never find that. So I downloaded a couple of those as well. Couldn't find anything even remotely like it. So the stitch counters, like, you know, knit diary or speech stitch counter, not particularly great. Knit tools, on the other hand, if you don't want to spend money and you're not that bothered about integrating Ravelry, this one is actually quite good because you've got row counters, you've got inventory, so you've got a needle inventory there, and you've also got knitting tools and a miscellaneous maths bit, which allow you to calculate like how much yarn you'll need for a project and stuff like that, which is really handy at times because it is difficult sometimes to know, especially when it comes to like after Tori's little rant the other week, when it comes to things like that little the little difference between a 5-ply and a 4-ply. Like, it's the smallest thing, but when you come to knitting a garment, that can make a big difference, especially in your gauge. So having things like that at hand when you're walking around Woolfest can be very helpful. So knit tools is really good if you don't want to spend any money. Next we have Knitwits, which I downloaded because I quite like the look of it, like the actual look of the app. It was quite pretty, it looked quite nice. It was buried quite far down as well, but this one is one of the ones that integrates Ravelry, which is always fun. We quite like Ravelry integration. Hey, Jane is here. So this one integrates Ravelry. You can upload and download your own projects. So you can add pictures, you can add a new project, you can look in your needles and everything, your yarn, inventory, stash and everything. Yes, my hay fever is really bad, thank you, Jane. Yes, so it's a fairly basic one. It has got, if you go into each one, you can add a row counter for it, each project, but that's about as interesting as it gets. The one that I really want to talk to you about, and I'm going to apologize and just give my nose a little wipe because it's getting really sniffy. Apologies. Because yes, my hay fever is really bad. Never endingly. Is Stash to Go. Stash to Go is free, but then you can open up the rest of the app by spending $2.80, I think it was. And to be honest, all it did was get rid of the adverts, which to me isn't a big deal, but the adverts were fairly huge. So this is what it looks like on the screen. If you can see that, hold on, I'll have an extra still for you. You can't really see that. It's got patterns, queue, stash, needles and hooks. It's got everything. Everything is on there. It's your entire Ravelry in one screen. And then you hit buttons to find things. So you've got your friends updates. You've got friends and friends updates right next to each other. So you can look at what other people are posting on Ravelry and go, oh, I quite like what you just posted on Ravelry. I shall steal it. It has, if you go into your project, it has all your projects listed. So that's my projects on Ravelry. So there's the shawl I just finished, right? So that's that. And then if you press up here and go into row counters, that is the row counter for it. And if I get my tablet out and I click the same buttons on the same project, it will come out with the same numbers because it's linked and it makes me happy. So the best thing about it, the bestest thing is the integration. So it'll work on your tablet, it'll work on your phone, it'll work like, you know, on any Android device you have. And it's really, really easy to navigate. It's really easy to just pick up and just go, right, well, I want to look for a pattern. And then you click on pattern search. You know, it's that easy. Whereas Knitwits doesn't have a pattern search option. It doesn't have that kind of thing. It doesn't have like your friends integrated. It doesn't have anything of the forums. The forums are all integrated into that app as well. So what I'm going to suggest is, if you want to look at apps, if you want to have a little go on apps, then definitely look at Stash to Go. The 280 does seem quite steep for what you're getting, just because all it's doing is getting rid of the adverts. But what I basically what I did was I got that upgrade immediately, so I didn't really experience it with the adverts. But what I saw of the adverts were they were significantly huge. They were absolutely massive, and it was just a little bit, you know. But the minute you pay that 280 one-off fee, it immediately takes the adverts off, and then you got one screen which has all your buttons on it, and it looks absolutely brilliant. Like, the design is great. It's not at all laggy. And it's just, honestly, it's just really easy to use. Jane has just told me that she's an Apple person. Well, I am personally, I cannot stand Apple. I just don't like the operating system. I don't like the software. But Amy literally does. She's always been an Apple girl, and now she's moving towards the Android. So she's got an Android phone, and she won't get rid of her iPad just because of Nik Companion, which I've never actually used. I was saying that before. I've never used Nik Companion. I've never tried it, so I have no idea what it's like. Have you ever tried it, Jane? Please do tell me. I have no idea. I would not know, but I don't know what the knitting apps are like on Apple. We were going to get Amy's opinion on that and get like a little bit of a back and forth about the different types of software and what you can get that's available on each different one. Because I've never even looked at the Apple App Store. I've got no idea. So if you can tell me all about those apps, yes, please do. It would be very helpful to know for our other viewers. But yes, so when it comes to the Android apps, I'm not sure if it's actually available on Apple. It might be, Stash to Go might be available on Apple, and it's a really great app. It really is. Sorry, keep wiping my nose again because I'm getting all gross and nasty. Oh, dear, apologies. My hay fever is disgusting. I need fluids. Fluid intake is very important at this time of year. My exciting life. So that's basically what's going on at the minute. Jane hasn't got any knitting apps, right? Jane, Knit Companion. Amy swears by it. I've never even looked at it. So maybe you should have a look, see if you can find Stash to Go as well, because that's it's not an app made by Ravelry, but they made their database available to everyone. They basically said if anyone can build an app and it's good enough, then they'll endorse it. And Stash to Go's app has a button on Ravelry, so if you use it, you can put a button onto your profile page saying that you use it. So it's that much endorsed by Ravelry. So I'm guessing that they'll have an Apple version or something. Oh, free hankies. Thank you, Jane. I'm disgusting. But yes, knitting apps. Basically, the reason I wanted knitting apps was because I was sick of having to carry books around and patterns, books and patterns. Not a fan of pieces of paper anymore. I used to write longhand, everything longhand. Now, I'm much more interested in grabbing my tablet, having all my patterns on there, and having all the pattern information on there. So if I can have my pattern and an app that can do row counting and can keep track of the pattern on Ravelry, then I don't have to sit with a camera and upload the photo to Ravelry on my computer. I don't have to transfer data from one place to another, so I don't have to keep a note of everything in one book. Write it all up, so what yarn I'm using, etc. I can literally go on my Stash to Go app and find the yarn I'm using just by putting in one keyword, which makes it a lot easier because you're not going from pillar to post, putting it on your phone, putting it on your computer, taking photos on one piece of hardware, transferring it to another piece of hardware. Everything's in one place. The best feeling in the world. But yes, so that's my little app review. I was meant to have other people with me to have this discussion so that we could talk about what we like and what we don't like about apps. But basically, it's just me whittering on about apps currently. But yes, so Jane has only just joined us, so she didn't hear all about my wonderful week of finishing everything off. I'm gonna wipe my nose again because I am severely allergic to life. Yes, Jane, I've finished a lot of things. Oh, apparently she does have a Knit Companion, but it's on your old iPad. Well, why isn't it on your new iPad? Is it? No. Get it on your iPad. Terrible woman. Wow. So I finished 4 projects in 6 days this week. Sorry. And one of them is my star-crossed beret. Very beautiful, you must agree. I finished this cowl, which is rubbish. I finished this shawl that took me 3 years because it went into hibernation for so long. But I had it out the other week and it wasn't finished, so now it is finished. Check it out. And I do like it. I've been wearing it on and off during this little thing because I quite enjoy it. I quite like the shape of it. And I finished this. I started it yesterday, finished it today. Crochet. Love me some crochet. Not bad, eh? That was a quick rundown for Jane because she missed it all before. My nose is so sniffy and disgusting. I'm trying to be nice and make sure that I keep this going because I don't want to miss 2 weeks in a row. Hosted by Nicola Mackay, held by Nicola Mackay. Where's Tori? Tori has a migraine. Tori is incredibly ill right now. Like, iller than I am, even. With me sniffy nose and me pathetic little hanky down sounding all the time. And Amy is busy at work, so finishing objects, very nice. So basically I'm on my own this week and I said that I'd host just because I don't want us going 2 weeks without having an episode because I don't want anyone to feel like we're leaving you guys alone. We quite like our viewers, we quite enjoy the crack, so I like having our little moments. And yeah, it's important to me that we make sure that we keep this going because I really enjoy doing it and I really enjoy the crack that we get from all of you guys who are watching and everyone who's not watching who will be watching later. We quite enjoy knowing that you guys are watching as well. Gonna take my hat off. Yeah, it's probably a right clip. But yeah, speaking of blocking, I never block using the properly methody methods. I don't know what the properly methody methods are. I just wash it with my hands and then dump it on a towel and pin it out if I have to. But I've blocked that ugly cowl that does not fit and is rubbish because I ran out of yarn. And I blocked the hat, obviously. It looks amazing. We love the hat. I'm very happy with that hat, actually. It's made out of my own handspun. And it's the first thing I've ever knit in my own handspun. And oh, thank you, Jane. Jane likes listening to me, everyone. You see. But yeah, so I made this star-crossed out of my own handspun. I've never knit with my own handspun. So I'm kind of really proud of it. I'm really I feel like it's my little baby. And I think it looks really nice. I mean, you can't, the worst thing is on the screen, you can't see the cables. And it has got some really intricate cable work. And I mean, it only took me a few hours to make because it's made in Aran weight yarn, so Aran weight handspun, and it's on 6 and 8 mil needles, so it's kind of like a big chunky knit. Especially for me, I am not a chunky knitter. I am a 4 mil or less knitter. So for me, that was quite an unusual thing, and how quickly it worked up was really shocking to me. Like, it's been so long since I've actually knit something on needles that big that it completely blew me away that things could actually be knit that quickly. You forget when all you do is lace knitting and things like that, then you completely forget that there are, quicker ways of knitting, I suppose. Sorry, I'm not bored. I'm just absolutely knackered. My daughter had me up at 4 o'clock this morning because she's a little minx as well. When she woke us up and she was playing with my lipstick and she's drawn all over me wardrobe doors. So that's very nice. So I should be very clever. I don't understand. Is it because I'm all on my own and I'm doing amazingly? But yes, so changing from knitting on small needles to knitting on big needles then made me want crochet, because crochet to me is instant gratification craft work. You put a hook, something on your hook, it basically works itself. And as I've shown you, that shawl took less than a day. It took 11 hours, just easy peasy. And to me, the most important thing about crafting is that you keep it diverse. So yes, have several different shawls on the go if you need several different shawls. If you want 100 shawls on the go, have 100 shawls on the go. But at least make one of them crochet, you know? Make one of them a little funky. Make one like, you know, not asymmetrical. Keep it interesting. Don't just do the same things all the time. So I have a square shawl, a Bactus. The Bactus is the easy knitting, and Rock Island. And I've finished my crochet project, obviously. Oh, clever too. I'm spun and knitted with the yarn. I'm clever because I can spin my own yarn. Yay! I do try. Yes, so I've got, you know, intricate, I've got boring, and I've got incredibly difficult shawls on the go. 3 different shawls currently. Although the Rock Island is on the needles and it's not being touched recently because it needs frogging back because I did the wrong stitch count when I picked up my stitches. So I now need to go back and restart the picked up stitches. But the Lucidity, which I started on Sunday, started this on Sunday. I haven't worked on it since Monday, and I've done one full chart of it. I'm trying to not get it wrapped up in itself, but it's fairly difficult. This is in cobweb lace, and it's so delicate. My first cast on, I ripped it all out by accident because I was too heavy-handed with it. It's so fine, and it's like unbelievably like delicate, this yarn. And I feel really mean for even knitting it because, I mean, I'm having to push my hand through it there so that you can even see that it's got any like definition to it because it's so fine. There's something like 150 stitches on those needles, and I can't move up yet because it's too delicate to move up until I've got more stitches, because if I start trying to ram stitches around the place, it'll tear the yarn, and I don't want to tear the yarn because it's very nice yarn. It wasn't particularly expensive. That was so cheap, actually. The space side stuff. This was £3.55 for 50 grams of space side yarn. Absolutely stunning. I am about to sneeze. So yes, I'm not bothered about if I needed to buy some more because I don't have enough for the pattern. What I'm bothered about is damaging what I have because I don't like to waste my yarn. I'm just about to. It disappeared. Apologies, I'm disgusting. I'm really sad. I really want that sneeze. I haven't sneezed in hours and my nose is all blocked because of it. But yes, so it's all about the diversity currently with me. And you know something, that crochet shawl was so quick and easy, and it was so like the instant gratification level was massive on that one. It was really nice to just like sit there and watch it grow so quickly, because it really was. It was so quick. That I'm kind of tempted to put another one on the hook. I was going to go for a toy of some description for Emily, make a teddy bear or something, or a bunny rabbit. She's currently in love with bunnies, as we know. She keeps on running in and going, "Mommy, mommy, my bunny." Because her Auntie Cat's got her a lovely bunny for Christmas, and everywhere she goes, she takes her bunny. It's very sweet. We went on a bus ride to Walsingham. Took us an hour to get there from where I live, and the entire time she was sat cuddling a bunny. It was very sweet. Apologies, I have a sniffy nose. But yes, so I need crochet toys, crochet bunny rabbits on 4-ply because I don't own any of the yarns apart from 4-plies. I'm gonna sneeze. Or not. What the hell's going on? Oh dear. I'm incredibly ill. Yucky, yucky, yuck. I'm gonna just check the Facebook group and see what's going on. See if anyone else has joined us. Has anyone else joined us? No, it's still just me and Jane. You're extra special today, Jane. Oh, my hair's going mental. Sorry. Such a vain little creature. But yes, so that's 2 objects out of the drawer gone. So the drawer's going to start looking quite empty soon. Got Rock Island to pull back. I've still got the messenger bag to finish, and I'm binning those mittens because I think they're ugly now. Sometimes that's all it takes. Another look back and you just go, why was I knitting that in the first place? I think that's ugly. Apologies, I'm gross and disgusting, and I'm probably going to need a new tissue in a second because I'm too allergic to life. I'm going to text my fiance and tell him to bring me tissues. Apologies. Texted. Unfortunately, he probably won't get back for a little while. And once I start sneezing, I don't stop. So apologies for sneezing so much. It's awful. Everyone seems to think hay fever is just like, oh, I've got a sneeze. I've got a bit of a cold kind of thing. And in fact, it's like, you know, this is the nicest day I've had because all I'm doing is sneezing. Last week I had to get rid of Emily 2 days in a row because I couldn't function as a human being. And look at that, you can see my face is getting really swollen just from sneezing. It sucks to be this allergic to life. Hopefully my fiance will be here soon and I can blow my nose because it's driving me crazy. Hopefully. I'm waiting with bated breath currently. I just need those tissues. Absolutely terrible. Worst service ever. I'm going to go to a different hotel next time. Oh, Jane says we're having a cozy twosome and she asks what I got at Woolfest. Well, I did that earlier, but since you've come in late, I shall tell you what I got at Woolfest. I got the Debbie Tomkis yarn that I showed you before. This one right here. Space dyed. This was $3.50. It was amazing. Did you just throw that through a window? Yeah. Can you come and pass it to me, please? No?
Trying to stop the channel from escaping.
Silly. He doesn't like showing his face, so he tried to throw them at me. Bless his little head. Right, so I got my Debbie Tomkis, which is that one. Not just a little bit allergic, but a lot allergic to life right now. I got the space dyed one. This one is called the coffee colorway. It is browns to beiges, so it's like lattes to espressos almost, if you will. And this is what it looks like once you round it into a ball. This took me nearly 3 hours the other day because I don't have a Swift. It got knotted quite often. But it looks really pretty once it's been wound. It's the cobweb, obviously, so it's incredibly delicate. And I also got some of that, but it was undyed, so I could do some dyeing with it. And I wrecked it, so me and Tori are going to try and fix that sometime in the near future. Because I am an absolute clip when it comes to that as well. Let's have a look. I also got, I went to Texair. I got some silk, which I still can't find. Can you hear a baby? I got 4-ply. Oh, thank you. I also love the mug. It was a birthday present. This is my 4-ply that Tori got me for my birthday. Thank you. I got a bit excited. This is 400 grams of British wool 4-ply, and it's kind of a burgundy colour. Wine, we will call it, red wine. And I also got the silk from Texair, which I'll get in a second because I just spotted it. I'll be looking for it for the entire duration of this episode. And 400 grams of linen from Texair, which is unbelievably large. It's so huge. And it's so rigid, it feels like paper. Like, you know, has anyone ever seen the Koigu paper yarn? Where it's kind of rough, but apparently it washes really nicely or something. It feels like that. It's so rough, but once it's been washed, it'll wash out really nicely, and then it'll be beautiful. But first you have to knit with it, and it feels like it'll cut your fingers open when you knit. So that's nice. And then we have the silk, with a little cone of beautiful, beautiful cobweb silk, red and black. Although I think that's actually called wine and black. That one, black and wine, 550 meters of cobweb. Absolutely tiny, but it looks beautiful. And then we have the flute, which I'm sure you're not interested in because it's boring. But the fluff is absolutely stunning. It's very, very nice. And as I was saying before, it's incredibly cheap. The Corriedale was $1.65 for 400 grams. When considering you can go into any actual, bricks and mortar shop and you can pay from a £5 to 15, 20 quid for 100 grams of unspun fleece, depending on where you go, who's made it, all those things. So getting like £3 for some English bat, it's fairly cheap. And it's really fun to just sit and spin with sometimes. I don't get much spinning time these days with Emily around. It is really difficult when you've got a toddler to do things where you have to sit in a room on your own to do it. So spinning, I don't get much time for. I have bought all that fluff just so that I can sit there and say, yay, I've got fluff, because it's exciting for me. It's just a small portion of the excitement is just having the fluff, and then the next portion is spinning it and then plying it, and then once it's plied, you get to wash it, and then you get to knit with it and make beautiful hats. I did do well. I overspent though. I overspent just a little bit, but I got so much lace weight yarn. Even after sitting here and saying last week that week before last, I was going to go and find Aran weight yarns. Did not happen. I'm a terrible person for doing that, but it didn't happen. I bought cobweb lace about, I think it would be about 3,000 meters of just the cobweb lace, not including the linen, and then that 4-ply. But that 4-ply will probably make an entire jacket. So, because there's a lot of it, 400 grams of 4-ply, that would be about 1,600 meters, maybe? Do you think? Yes, everything is difficult with a toddler. Thank you, Jane. Someone who understands. No one seems to understand how difficult it is to do things. You can crochet with a toddler as long as you hide your hook when you walk out the room. And don't leave your Bactus unattended, because she ripped out the needles yesterday on my Bactus and I was, oh my word. You can imagine the shock and horror and the fireworks. Oh yeah, still stiffy, sorry. I have discovered it's better if you just do it loud and proud rather than pretending that you're not allergic. Especially this year. This year has been so bad for my hay fever. that I've gotten over so many of my little hang-ups, like, oh, don't blow your nose in front of people. Oh, go out of the room to do that. And now I'm just like, nope, I'm sat here live on the internet blowing my nose in front of virtual strangers and literal strangers and people who know me quite well. Hello, Jane. So that was my Woolfest. I had a great time. I was really hungover though, because it was my friend's hen do the night before and I fell down a hill as well. So I had a really bad knee. And then I did Race for Life the day after as well. I didn't run it though, I volunteered. I'm a good girl. And we like my TARDIS. Even if you gotta try and work out what I drink from it every time you pick it up. Oh dear. I am really sniffy. Apologies. I am so sorry. Yes, I saw that you're going to be a grandmother again, Jane. Yes, Jane has got another new baby on the way as well. Get you. Dead impressive. I love babies. Babies are great. I've got a brand new niece and she's so tiny. She's the smallest thing I've ever seen in my life. She was just so squishy. Jane is laughing at me apparently. LOLing, if you will. But yes, my niece is she was born something like 5 pounds, so she's absolutely minute. She is squishy, wishy, tiny, whiny, and it's terrifying how small she is. Every time I'm just like, oh my god, she's so tiny, and I don't want to damage her when I pick her up. Whereas Emily, she was apparently small for her birth, like small in size for like a baby born. She's 7 pounds dead on. So that, that's just in the region of fine for a baby, just on the, yes, okay, we accept that it's a perfectly sized baby, if on the small side. And this baby is so small, it's unreal. Like, I am terrified of this baby. I quite enjoyed Jade and me having a little conversation between ourselves. I know it's not you. I said you were going to be a grandma again. I didn't say you were having another baby, Jane. That would be incredibly, incredibly silly. I mean, not trying to say that you're completely over the hill, but it'd be fairly shocking if you did have another baby. Have I knitted for my niece? Yes, I made her a blanket. And we got given, on my birthday, we got given little cards with a picture of my niece. Esther is her name. Esther. What a mouthful. Like, Emily is really struggling saying Esther. It's quite cute. She's like, Esther, Esther. And that is very adorable. And we got given little thank you cards from Esther saying thank you for blankets and thank you for this and thank you for that. Oh, £9. We've had a couple of those. We've had a £9 and an £8, and Emily was £7 dead on. Which so we went like down. But Emily was a little baby. She was a little and adorable, and she was perfectly sized. She was just lovely. But Esther is so tiny. She is honestly, she is the smallest baby I've seen in years. It's terrifying how small that child is. Sorry. That was disgusting. But yes, so I knitted her a little blanket. It was just in the DK baby yarns. You can get them anywhere, like Boys and places like that. You just pick them up, and they're cheap and really durable, and that's what I was going for. I wasn't like, oh well, I just want something cheap to knit with. What I wanted was something that Hannah could literally just chuck in a washing machine and not have to worry about like colour bleeds or it getting misshapen. What you need is something heavily acrylic when you're knitting for a newborn baby, because newborn babies puke, and they puke a lot. My daughter puked so much it was unreal. So I bought, I think it was about £3 for the ball of DK yarn I bought. So it didn't cost much, but it was a really intricate knit lace, and it was oh my god, I think it's called like grandmother lace or something. It's got like leaves, and then it goes outwards. It's like squares, and it's got 4 leaves in the center and lace on the outside. I knitted ages ago, and then I put it in like the box of things. You know that thing where you knit it and then you go, that is for that person while they're pregnant. You knit it ages in advance, and then you go, oh crap, they've had the baby, so you pull it out again. That's what I did with that, because I didn't know if it was a girl or a boy when I was knitting it, so I made it in white, and it looks absolutely beautiful. And she's so tiny that it like proper swamps her when she's in it, and I was just like, oh my god, I made such a giant, oh my god, like, my god, she's so cute. My little niece, she's the only one I've got, me little Esther. I get all teary-eyed when I think about how cute she is, but I get like that whenever I see the little babies. Oh, Jane. Jane says she thinks that I should give up for the night because I'm suffering so badly. I am really not well. My eyes are starting to go as well. But I didn't want to let anyone down or anyone to think we're giving up on them, because it is disappointing when you're expecting one thing, you're expecting your episode for the night, and then it gets cancelled like it did last week, because that was really sucky. But last week, honestly, my face was absolutely ridiculous. It was like out here, and I couldn't see because my eyes were swelling shut and all kinds of yucky things. Debbie Bliss for Babies. Yes, Debbie Bliss for Babies is really nice, but it is quite pricey as well. You got to remember that I am an unemployed one. Well, I wasn't unemployed when I was doing the blanket, though. Could have afforded some Debbie Blisses. If I'd been anywhere near a stockist, which I don't have a stockist locally. But Debbie Bliss, I really enjoy knitting with it. Again, the price can kind of leave me at odds with myself. Sometimes I'm like, oh god, I really want to buy this, blah 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 blah. Have another. Jane, I am not having another baby. Why is, honestly, that's the second time in a week I've been told I need to procreate more. I don't want another baby. I like the baby I've got. She's adorable. I'll go and get her if you want to go get her. Just to annoy you, I will go and collect my child from her father, because she was in here before and she was like, Mummy, where's Auntie Tori? Waiting for Auntie Tori to come up on the screen. It was very cute. But I don't want any more kids. I'm quite happy with the one I have. She's very sweet and funny, if somewhat sweary. She swore for the first time today. Oh my word. She said a naughty word and I just I couldn't stop laughing. But it was quite cute. Yes, grandmas can spoil. Emily gets spoilt rotten. She's going to grandma's tomorrow, I believe. She's going to go to grandma's, and she's going to go and she'll be taken down to Chelsea Street, Front Street, and they'll have a walk from the top to the bottom. And Emily will drag them into every shop wanting one thing or another. And grandma will provide her it. She's unreal, my child. She will literally stand there and go, a £10, please, and ask you for all the money in your wallet, and you'd want to give her it. You can't. Oh my word. That's not fair. I'm allergic to life right now. Do you know how bad these allergies are when you can't take the medication for them? I'll tell you something, it's no fun. And she doesn't need a playmate. She's got a girlfriend. It's fine. Not a girlfriend. It's a little girl who's her friend. It's very cute, though. They're secretly the bestest of friends. It's very sweet. Me and Danny were walking them down the street the other day, and Eden was in the pushchair, so Emily was walking beside the pushchair holding Eden's hand. It was proper heartbreakingly gorgeous, bless them. They are very sweet little babies. Anyway, I think I'm going to go before I start getting harassed into having another child. I've already done a child. You were there, Jane. You saw. I got all pregnant and then I hated being pregnant, remember? It was yucky. We don't like pregnancy. It was gross and disgusting. We don't like it. So, I'm going to disappear off. I am sorry that we haven't gone on longer. It's been, to be fair, I've been going an hour on my own. That's fairly good considering I've usually got 2 playmates. I'd like to think it's a usually equal distribution of 30 minutes each that we talk. So an hour on my own is fairly good. Thank you for everyone who's watched, everyone who's tuned in. Thank you for Jane for sitting and keeping me company and attempting to get me pregnant again. I shall inform Lee of your opinion on that, and he will tell you to bugger off also. It's been lovely. Next week we'll probably not have Amy. She's seriously busy with project managing wind farms. But we should have Tori back. If not, then I will definitely be here because I'm not letting you guys down. And I hope to see you all again soon. See you later, guys. Bye.